What's up? What's up? What's up? Welcome to the All Around. I'm your gracious host, Dr. Anthony. Please tune in on Mondays at 6 p.m. for your entertainment purposes. We will hit current topics, old topics, and everything else in between. Be there or be square. Deuces, my loves. Hi, welcome to another great episode of the All Around. I am your gracious host, Dr. Anthony, and we have an amazing show set up for you tonight. The beautiful Ida B will be here, Ida Bullock, my gracious and most lovely co-host. We also have a special guest, the beautiful Miss Ivy Caldwell, and she'll be discussing her book on healing and self-preservation and getting yourself together. So without further ado, let's go ahead and bring out Miss Ivy Caldwell so we can just go ahead and get jumping right into this topic and have her explain to us about her book and what it is all about. Hi, how are you?
Hi, I am well. How are you? Thank you for having me.
I am great. So I didn't get your bio. So before we begin, can you give the audience a little bit of background information about yourself and what you do and what you bring to the table in your book, please?
Yes. I am author, speaker, coach. I'm the founder of Footprint Enterprises, which is a faith-based organization that serves women who are ready to confront their past emotional trauma. I know this is going to be a very tough topic on tonight, but we must stop hiding and we must expose our truth, those painful things that we have gone through. Why? So that our healing process can begin. I walk women through my program, which is called Stepping into a New You, giving them a 5-step process, how to go all the way back to that painful place to come forward to today and be renewed and restored and refreshed and stepping into a new you.
Beautiful. So with your book and dealing with women and their trauma, how hard has it been for you to basically get them over that threshold of just being comfortable with identifying their triggers, identifying the trauma, and identifying things that has basically kept them back, so to speak?
Yes. It is a process. It's not going to be easy, but I let the women know when I meet them, you don't have to tell me anything because I get it. You don't know me, but I am transparent about my story. And I challenge them to find someone in their circle that they know, that they trust to share their story with. The name of my book is entitled Expose It, Let Your Healing Process Begin.
Mhm. Beautiful. So I know that I work also in mental health, and it's kind of challenging when we discuss topics like this, especially like emotional trauma, physical trauma, when it comes to women and all of the things that they have experienced. What are some strategies that you will lay out for people who are basically, just getting into identifying their triggers, identifying, their trauma, and identifying things that has hurt them? And what would you identify as a great strategy for people who are not willing to step up initially and, talk about those traumas in a
Well,
sense?
that's the whole key right there. If you don't step up to the plate, you're not going to go any further. You
Mm-hmm.
have to face it. You have to acknowledge it. You have to talk about it. You have to speak about it. No longer allow what has happened to you to have power over you.
Mm-hmm.
Take your voice, authority, and power back.
And what would that look like? I'm questioning because I know, I got a sense of what it looked like because I work in the field. But for someone who doesn't have a sense of what it will look like, can you paint a picture to us of what it would look like in terms of, stepping out and being your own person and being your own voice, how would that look for someone who has never had the courage to do
Yeah.
that?
Yes, I'll share my 5 steps. So the first step up is face it. All right.
Mm-hmm,
So you have decided I'm going to do this. I'm sick and tired of it. I'm ready to get past it. I'm ready to move on with my life. So there will be a lot of journaling going through this process, sort of like a brain dump to get it
mm-hmm,
out of your system, to look and see, eyeball, what you have been through. So the first step is face it. The second step is going to be confess it. All right. You don't have to confess it to me. I'm going to challenge you to confess it to God.
mm-hmm,
This will be your first time, possibly, of actually doing a soul dump. I mean, you may cry. You may be so afraid. You will feel that pain. You may be nervous. You may shake, but it's okay. Go ahead and cry and get it out. It's just you and God having a one on one. If you need to tell God, why did this happen? Why did you? God can handle it. Step three is to speak it. That's where I'm challenging you to find someone in your circle that you trust to share your story with. Give them a heads up. Hey, I'm going to need an hour, a 2 hour of your time, just me and you. I really need to share my life experiences with you. So many times we go through life with a mask on. We don't even show the world who we really are. Step four is forgive it. There's no getting around it. Forgiveness is a part of your healing journey. Forgiveness is not giving them an out. Forgiveness is so you can be free, and that will no longer have a hold over you. And step five is expose it. We expose our truth to be an encouragement and inspiration to someone else, not to go around saying, oh, they did this, they did that. No, because we are healed. We don't want to go around bleeding on other people. We want to make sure that we are healed before we share our story. That
mm-hmm,
is my 5 step process that I take the women through to get over to the other side and start walking in their purpose.
mm-hmm. So that was a lot to unpack. So, so for the women who are, like I said, we still deal with a lot of people who are not ready to, like walk into their purpose and not ready to move forward into, what God has for them. And just basically, trying to get them there and for them to understand. And like you said, it is a process of, getting there. Trauma and hurt is one of the major things that we as Black women, Black females all over the planet, we experience and we go through. And sometimes we just don't know how to deal with trauma, and we
Yeah.
don't know how to deal with that hurt. And sometimes we're pushed where, we feel like our backs against the wall and we have nowhere to turn. And so your book highlights, different phases and different aspects where, the female can address her trauma, but she can address it in a way that is, comparable to her, and
Yeah.
not necessarily speaking about it, but writing about it through the journaling process. And that's one of those techniques that I use as well when I'm counseling or when I'm working with, different patients who has experienced, some type of trauma, some type of traumatic experience in their lives. And I find that to be most helpful when they're writing it out and reading it to themselves. And then, once they get that guideline out, then it's easier for them to speak to us in a way that is comparable to guide them.
Yeah.
And I think your book highlights a lot of that stuff, and it puts out there a way that, they can start to identify their emotional trauma and their triggers. And let me just say this, in mental health, it's not a rush process.
Yeah.
Everything is on your own time. So just because of you see a person over here who has went through the healing process of, trauma and, triggers, does not mean your healing process is going to be as fast. Everything is
Yeah.
germane to you and
Yes.
your experiences and what you are going through. So can you give us a little more insight about that, please?
Most definitely. We weren't raised to even talk about how we feel. Go somewhere and sit down. Be quiet. And so
Mm-hmm,
it is hard to acknowledge our emotions. We have to learn how to validate our emotions. We feel them, we've experienced it. It's real,
Mm-hmm.
it's a part of us. So we have to take courage and be bold and
Mm-hmm.
go for it because we're worth it. We
We
are
are.
worth being healed and made whole.
Yes, we are. And that's another thing is, within the Black community, one of the stigmas has been, surrounding mental health. And, people don't like to expose that, hey, I'm having challenges. I need this help because of the negative stigmatism that is, surrounded by mental health in the Black community. Oh, she crazy, you can't talk to her, or, he's crazy, you can't talk to him. And so we have to normalize being
Mhm.
able to communicate with one another and being able to communicate in safe spaces. And I know my father is a minister, but I'm not a strong proponent of going to the church to
Mhm.
seek certain counseling, for the simple reason is, not saying that people at the church can't counsel, but
Mhm.
most people at the church are not equipped with the skills to
Yeah.
counsel people in the capacity in which they need to be counseled. So we need to start normalizing people going to seek professional help
Yes.
in counseling and getting those services that they need.
Yes, you're absolutely correct. The churches are not equipped for it, and they should encourage their congregation to seek out professional help so
Hmm.
that they can get the help that they need.
And all too often, we see a lot of times where people have confided in the pastor and they start to hate the church.
Mm,
And I talk to to my family about this all the time. It's not the church that you're hating, it's the person that
yeah.
you're hating, the person that you inflicted your trust into, the person that you told your story to, the person that you laid out all the lines to, in terms of seeking that help, and that person didn't deliver on that help for you, so you hate the church
Yeah.
instead of going to the professionals that you need to be aligned with. And I
Mhm.
tell people all the time that church is church, and everything else is everything else. And we like I said, we need to normalize being able to go to professionals, seeking out mental health, seeking out help for our trauma, seeking out help for our pain, and then also normalizing being able to talk about it, because a lot of
That's
times
right.
we're not able to talk about it.
That's right. That is so true. Yeah, you have to go back to that's a deep hurt, that church
Hmm.
hurt. It's very deep, and it takes people years to get over that because you opened up yourself and trust that person. Now you feel, or they betrayed your trust. And
Hmm.
it is so hard and difficult to do that. But no, but I just pray if anyone is listening and they have experienced that, that they would seek out the professional help to get that they need.
And also, even with seeking out the professional help, it's not going to happen overnight. You have to be willing, a willing participant, in order to receive what the person is trying to tell you. You can't go in there with I know all type personality, and I don't need help type personality or position, because you do need help, and you do
Yeah.
need a way to explain or convey your feelings and learn how to process what you're going through, because like you said, um we never had those opportunities within the Black community to express ourselves in that capacity. But we definitely need to be able to normalize having conversations around trauma, mental health, and just exposing ourselves to other people who have actually experienced it, so we can get a different side of the spectrum, and try to put some normalcy to what we're going through, because you're not alone. And a
Yeah.
lot of people think that they are alone in the
Yes.
battle and in the fight. And so we have to normalize, like, just basically, like they said, putting your heart on your sleeves and just
Mm,
coming out naked, not physically
yes.
naked, but just exposing your soul and exposing everything, so that you can become whole and that you can become one with yourself again.
Yes, 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 absolutely. And when you do seek out professional help, you got to be honest. Don't tell them like bits and pieces of what you've gone through. Be authentic, be real, be honest with them. Or otherwise, it's like you're just wasting your time and your money. Put it all out there.
Hmm.
Put it out there. Let's go for it because there's so much for you on the other side of that healing. I'm telling you.
It is, and I think your book highlights a way for women who has experienced traumatic experiences to put their stuff out on their sleeve and just start normalizing just being normal again, because
Yeah.
certain things are not afforded to us as Black women. We don't get a chance to like not have a moment. We don't get a chance to
Yeah. I hear you.
not be in a space where we feel safe. We don't get those opportunities. We always have to be on, and when we're
Mhm.
not on, what happens then? What happens to the strong woman then? She has to have someone to fall back on. She has to have someone to communicate with. She has to have someone that believes in her and that someone to support her. But more than likely, we don't get those opportunities because they look at us as not, experiencing the things as our counterparts and not going through the things as our counterparts. And we have to start normalizing that. Black women are
Yeah.
not always strong. We can be
Yeah.
strong in some capacities, but we're also meek, we're also feeble, we're also docile, we're also all of those things. And we have to start normalizing being seen in those capacities as other women, because they look at us in a different way and in a different light, which is not normal. That's just one
Yeah.
part of the spectrum. That's just one part of who we are.
Right, right, right. We are human.
Hmm.
We hurt and cry just like everybody else. Time to take the mask off. We are not that superwoman. Who used to sing that song? I'm not your superwoman.
Karen White.
No. We are not. And so I can share my testimony is that I was molested on my ninth birthday. And when it happened, I didn't tell anyone about it. As a 9-year-old, you don't even have the words.
Hmm.
I've just been traumatized. I kept it to myself. And time went by, and I remember our house catching on fire. We had to move to the other side of town. And then one day, who shows up to our house? This man shows up to our house. He is now living with us. So, as a 9-year-old girl, I'm terrified, afraid. I have this anger. I have this, the fear, the unforgiveness. Then you internalize it. Now you don't like yourself. You hate yourself. You have the low self esteem. So, you have all of these things going on, no one around to help you, and it takes time to take the covers off. It takes time to get rid of all of that baggage you have been carrying around for years.
Hmm. And the thing is, how do we do that? How do
Yeah.
we put our children in a position where they feel comfortable with coming to us and talking about things that has happened and things that has transpired with them? How do we normalize
Yeah.
being able to communicate with our children? Because a lot of children, they go through those pains, they
Oh
go
yeah,
through that
they do.
trauma, they go through all of that. But and like you said, they don't have the words. And 9 times out of 10, if they do have the words, they're being shut down and they're being told that it didn't happen. I know him.
Yeah.
He didn't happen. It didn't
Yeah.
happen. He's
Yeah.
not that type of person.
Yeah. You're
So,
absolutely right. Yeah.
how do we normalize, being able to have our children feel comfortable enough to come and say X, Y, and Z took
Yeah.
place, or, he touched me in a way that I felt uncomfortable, or, I didn't feel right by, his whatever he was doing.
Yeah. Parents and guardians have to have these conversations. It starts at home.
Hmm.
You get your children, you sit down and you talk to them and be like, listen, baby, if someone touches you in your private parts, and give them the correct names. Don't be talking about no TTs and my girls, because when they go to school or go to the nurse is looking at them like TTs and girls. No, my breast, my vagina. Give them
Hmm.
the proper names. If someone touches you in these areas, you let me know, baby. I don't care what they say. I'm not going to be mad at you. I'm not going to yell. I need to know, because it's my job to protect you. That's the whole key. Parents, guardians, we have to start talking to our children to make it normalized in the home so they will be comfortable. I saw this book on Facebook called It Is So Cute. If You Touch, I Tell.
Hmm.
I love the title of that book. If you touch, I tell. No one has any business touching you in your personal space, or even if they get too close and you feel uncomfortable,
Hmm.
let me know. That's the whole thing. It starts at home.
It does start at home. And the other caveat about, it starting at home is, some of the parents have been molested,
Oh yeah.
and they're their parents were molested, and so it's a trickle down effect.
Yeah.
And we have to not only engage the child, but we also have to be holistic and engage the parent as well, and get the parents comfortable enough to talk about their trauma and their experiences and what they went through, in order to bring healing into the home and into that process with the child. Because if you never identify, and if you never put it out there, then you're going to have all that bottled up anger, all that bottled up trauma, all those triggers inside of you, and nobody knows why you're angry.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we have to identify those triggers, so we can break down and unpack what you have experienced, in order for your child or whomever is in your household to live within that right, so they can be right.
Yeah.
And people have to understand that as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's my story because one day my mom asked me, she's like, well, why don't you like him? Because she knew he knew, so I told
Mhm.
her exactly what he did to me. And she looked at me and said, girl, ain't nothing happened to you. Must have been something you saw on TV. So that day shut my voice even more.
Mhm.
And as time went on, I got older, got married, I'm out of the home. I go back to my mom to have that same conversation. And she told me, well, I did the best that I could. Time went by, years. I go back. And she was like, I sat down to listen to her story, to get understanding. Now, she was raised on a plantation. Now, we've seen the movies, right?
Mhm.
We know what happened on plantations to Black women. So that day, I got understanding. My mom was traumatized. So I understood why she said what she said. Nothing happened to you. Not meaning to downplay what happened to me or to give her out, but I understood her mindset as to why she said that. Compared to what happened to me, it's like not that you can compare them because they're both awful. I got it that day why she said what she had. So, I never had, unforgiveness against her or anything, but I'm so glad that we got that closure about
Mhm.
what happened to me on that day.
And that's one of the biggest things about about being traumatized, is normalizing those conversations and having those tough, courageous conversations to expose and identify things, so that you can move forward and so that you can heal. And a lot of people don't understand that, when you forgive a person, the forgiveness is for you, it's
Right,
not for them. It's
right.
so that you can move forward and you can, live within your right. It's not to say that, I'm forgiving them just because I'm forgiving them. No, it's forgiveness so you can let go of certain things, and you can address your trauma, address what you've had, and
Yeah.
address the triggers that are surrounding, your trauma and things like that. Because for example, I had a situation that happened with one of my younger siblings. And so every time I talk to my father, who's a minister, he's always, oh, you need to forgive your younger brother. I don't hate my younger brother. But at
Yeah.
the same time, I have forgiven him, but he doesn't have a place in my life anymore.
Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
have to understand, with forgiveness does not mean re-acceptance into your life. I
Right.
can forgive you,
Right.
but I don't have to re-accept you into my
Right.
life.
Yeah.
And
That
that's where I am.
reconciliation. Yeah.
Right. And I'm not re-accepting you into my life, because you had a place in my life. You had a high place in my life. You took it, you destroyed it, and you turned it into something else. So you don't get a do-over.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
forgiven you, I've moved on, but you don't get a do-over.
Yeah.
So, and I think a lot of times within the Black community, a lot of people are like, oh, you got to forgive, forget. And they think that you're supposed to allow the person back in your life. No, you
No.
don't have to allow that person back in your life. Because if that person didn't bring you no peace, joy, no harmony, then why put that person back in your life? Because anytime something else happens, that's solely on you, because
Mhm.
you allowed it to happen. So
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
just, I have forgiven, I've moved on, but you don't have a seat at my table.
Yeah. Yeah. And you never forget what happened.
Mm-mm.
No, but it is possible to not to feel any of that pain associated with that experience.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, exactly. So yeah, so I'm totally right there with you. And I just want, if Black women, you don't take anything else out of this show, is, start stepping up, start speaking about your trauma, start, having those normal conversations. You're not alone, you're
Yes.
there, and it's people out there that can assist and to help you.
Yes.
Hmm.
Some of the things that stop us is that fear. All right.
Yes.
Fear of man. What are they going to say about me? What are they going to think about me? But
Hmm.
you have to get to a point. Your healing is for you. It is not for anybody else, especially family members. You got to do what you got to do for you. And if they don't like it, oh well.
Hmm.
Another thing is the lies. We tend to believe a lot of lies and we take it on as truth. You're ugly. You're no good. You're never going to amount to anything. Nobody's ever going to want you. And we tend to believe those things, but they're not true.
Hmm.
So there's a lot of things that we have to get rid of that we've been thinking about ourselves. And we also have to forgive ourselves. Forgive ourselves for allowing certain things to happen in our lives. It's okay. Nobody's perfect. We all make mistakes. Some of us keep doing the same things over and over again, but it's okay. All right. It's like take a chill. All right. Take a chill pill and let's get healed. All right. Let's do what we got to do. Let's do the work.
Exactly. And that's the thing. And sometimes, we have to take a leap of faith, and we have to just go out there believing that everything is going to be okay, and everything will be okay.
Yeah.
And we can't, stay in that mindset of negativity. We can't stay in that mindset of, people are not gonna support me. We can't stay in those mindsets, because
Right.
if we stay in those mindsets, that's exactly what's going to happen. So
That's
we have to take a leap of faith, and we have to be willing to, step out there and put our stories out there, because there are people that will help. Although it may not be your family,
yeah.
sometimes, strangers help way more than
Right.
the people that are close to you. And we have to be willing to take those chances. And, with women, Black women, the struggle is real, and we get it, we understand it,
Yeah.
but you have to step up and you have to tell your story, and you have to be willing to, receive what God has in store for you. And sometimes it does come in a range of a stranger. You never
Yeah.
know, but if you're not open to receiving that, then you'll miss your blessing.
Yes, yes, yes. Because somebody is waiting on you to get healed. I can't reach the people you can reach. All right. We all got people we got to get to. And someone's waiting on your story so they can be healed. Yes.
And that's the God's honest truth. And I look at it as, each of us, we all have a past, we all have a story, we all have a testimony. But what are you going to do with your story? What are you going to do with your
Right.
testimony? Are you
Right.
going to step up and tell it so the world can know, and so that we can help you heal, and so that you can be a guiding light for somebody else? Or are you going to just be closed off and, remain complacent and in that position where you are? So, it's what are you going to do now?
Right. 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 I say, hey, that fear, shame, guilt, condemnation, Jesus carried all that on the cross. It's too
Mhm.
heavy for me to bear. I'm not carrying it anymore. Forget that.
Yes, indeed. So I hope you stay with us for a little bit longer. I'm going to change the subject a little bit. It's Martin Luther King birthday holiday. So we're all, basically celebrating. I got several phone calls, asking me what I'm going to do for the day of service. And I'm like, I'm not doing anything for the day of service. I service everybody every day anyway. So this is going to be a day of rest for me. But what I wanted to bring out is this statue, Embrace, that
Mm,
was placed in Boston, is getting like mixed reviews
mm.
from from different ones, and I wanted to hear your thoughts on the statue, and then I'll give mine.
I think it's a beautiful memory of the two of them showing their love before the world. They were there embracing one another. It's like, baby, I got you. Baby, we did it. So, yes, it was beautiful.
So, because initially to me, I really didn't get the statue. I guess because of the way the picture was taken and it was posted online, so it wasn't really showing the full capacity of what the statue looked like. But when I went back and did some further research and did a little bit more deep digging, I could see, the embrace. They were hugging each other, and it made a difference. So, because initially I was like, no, I don't like this statue. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's happening.
Like they could have did better.
Right. They need to do a redo. But like I said, upon, looking at the statue even further, getting different views and different angles of the statue, I can actually see the embrace. So it was taken off a picture where they were actually hugging each other.
Mhm.
And so it made more sense.
Yeah.
After I actually saw the picture and then I saw the statue from a different way, it made a lot more sense, because I was just like, what is he doing? What's happening? I'm just not getting it, because it was just like, I don't see the embrace. So I don't think this actually measures up. But after I saw, like different pictures and things like that or whatever, I did see, like the hands and, the embrace of, of him and her. And so it made, like I said, it made a lot more sense to me in that sense. And so so go ahead.
No, I didn't have anything.
So I was a little bit better with it after I kept seeing, the images or whatever, because initially I was like, no, I don't think I like the statue. I'm not a fan. I'm not really ready for it. No. But like I said, after I saw that, it was the actual embrace, then it made more sense or whatever. Because I guess I was in that prejudgment stage where I was just like, no, this does not represent Dr. King, Coretta. No, we're not doing that one. No.
I was like, why did they have the heads cut off?
So I actually got it. So now it makes perfect sense to me, and it's better that I have seen and I've witnessed, more photos, and I can see where the sculptor was going with the actual piece, because initially it was just I did that one black girl tape. No, we're not doing this one. so I'm going to change the subject again, and I want to talk about how Black women voices are diminished when we come out and we say things in terms of like our experiences, and how our experiences are not validated like other women. For example, when Megan Thee Stallion was shot in her foot, her experience was not validated. Everybody sided with the guy. When Meghan Markle said that she was being she received racism in the palace, her experience was diminished, and then it came out that there was some racist antics going on in the palace. But my thing is, why does it always have to be someone else who has to bring out the story in order for us to get our points across in our
validation?
Validations.
Yeah, it all goes back to the slavery times. Let's just put it out there.
Yeah.
We were nothing, just a house nigga. I mean, it just goes back to that. They don't think we're important. We don't matter, but we do matter. We have a voice, and we should not stop speaking up, no matter what. As long as we know what has happened to us, continue to speak your truth.
Right, exactly. We do have to continue to speak our truth. And that's one of the things that baffles me, is when we try to speak our truth, is we get diminished for speaking our truth, and they're looking at her as in the capacity of, oh, you're whining, you're doing this, you're doing that. But that's her truth. That's her lived experience. That's what she experienced while she was over there. And so you're trying to take that away from her, and you're basically trying to say that it didn't happen. But all too often that happens all the time. And we have to like normalize us being normal. Even within that capacity.
Yeah, it's not whiny. If they don't want to listen to you, find somebody that want to listen to you. Keep speaking your truth. Tell your story. Yeah.
and it's sad because I'm always a strong proponent of Black women and what we do and how we serve, and we don't get those opportunities to express ourselves in the way that white women get to express themselves. um we are, often told that we're too aggressive, we're too this, we're not docile, we're not soft enough, we're not, basically we're not good enough, we're not the beauty standard that that they want. And it's not that we don't want our Black men, it's just that our Black men don't want us. And they try to basically put us against white women and saying, oh, I don't want you because of this, I don't want you because of that, and I date white women because of this. Fine and dandy. If that's what you want, that's what you want. But my thing is, do you, but leave us out of it. You know what I'm saying? If you want to date white women, you don't have to address Black women and nothing that we have going on to give yourself an excuse to say that that we are, the reason why you're dating outside of your race, because we're not the reason why you're dating outside of your race. You have other issues as to why you're dating outside of your race. You have other issues as to why you're doing what you're doing, but you want to use Black women as an scapegoat.
Right. You're looking at the wrong Black women then. You're looking in the wrong places, because there's plenty of beautiful, smart, intelligent Black women out there. We come in different shapes, sizes, and shades. Black is beautiful. I don't care what they say.
Yes, it is. And the sad part about it is, we have a lot of men who are just really on this hate Black women type thing. And I'm like, why do you hate Black women so? You come from a Black woman, your sisters are Black, your aunts are Black, everything about your family is Black except for your subsector, which is the relationship that you have with a white woman. And if you have white, mixed race children, though, and they are considered Black except your subsector of the white woman. So it's hard to fathom why Black men are so hard on hating of Black women. And I mean, like I tell people anyway, you're probably one of the ones that we would never date in our lifetime anyway. So you're probably angry that we never gave you a chance. You are a reject, and you were a reject, and we would never, subject ourselves to the likes of you. And so you have basically made it a stance to go and get a person that that doesn't know that you were rejected by Black women.
Right. So they have some internal work to do themselves, that brother. And then it goes back to where we're saying that we don't normalize using our voice. And I can understand that they say we're aggressive, or that we're that mad Black woman. It's because nobody is listening. Nobody is paying attention. I'm trying to tell you what happened. And when you get to that, like that boiling point, now you're like yelling. Well, why are you yelling? Because you're not listening. But we bring it down. But there's a way to get your message across without being aggressive. There's a way to get it across.
And the thing about it is, I've been in, like, I'm gonna use this as an example. I've been in like different chats with different people of all ethnicities. And the second that the person doesn't like what we have to say, oh, you're being aggressive, you're being hostile. No, I'm not being aggressive, I'm not being hostile. And I just have to let this Caucasian lady know, if I were being aggressive and if I were being hostile, I would have made your ass cry a long time ago. You know what I'm saying? Because I was not. I'm just speaking.
Right.
I'm just speaking my piece, and I'm just speaking, normally, and I'm talking about the subject at hand. It's no aggression, it's no anger, it's no hostility, it's none of that. But that is their go-to for us when they don't like what we have to say and when we don't agree with what they have to say. Right. And also with the men, when they feel that we are, not in agreement, or we're not buying their bullshit, then we're angry, we're hostile, we're this, we're that. First of all, we have a brain, we can think, you know what I'm saying? Right. We're not roboticized. You don't tell us what to do. And if we do disagree, that's just what it is. It's a disagreement. It's not to say that, we have all these angry terms and all these angry things about, you or whatever. We're just giving you an opinion. It's an opinion. Yeah. We all have one. And the way that we, convey that opinion determines everything. But, in some people's minds, Black women are always angry. We're always,
Mhm.
barbaric. We're always this, we're always that. So you would never see us or perceive us in a way that is not like that. So
Yeah.
even though we can have a conversation and we can communicate in the most pleasant tone and in the most pleasant voice.
Mhm.
If you have that bias against us,
Right.
then it doesn't matter if we're our voices are heightened or if our
Yep.
voices are lowered. It's still going to amount to the same thing.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Absolutely. Maybe the brother never had a woman to step up to him like that, to speak up to him like that. So, but I can know what you thought, brother.
I mean, because it's so comical that that Black women are always the scapegoat. And
Mm,
then, when we have issues of trauma and triggers of trauma, we can't get the sympathy that other women get
yeah,
because of our trauma. So we have taken so much trauma, we have been beaten down so much, but the second that, we start falling apart and we need, normalization of, identifying and addressing that trauma,
yeah.
it's always a problem.
Hmm.
And we never get that normalization, we never get that, the ability to address the trauma. We
Yeah.
just have to deal with it.
Yeah, that's the problem. You can't just deal with it and you just can't get over it. You've got to deal with it. You got to confront it. You've got to talk about it.
And that's the thing. And then when we try to talk about it, we can't get normalization. So
Yeah,
we're at a catch 22. Is either we're damned if we do it, we damned if we don't. So, are we talking about it or are we not talking about it? Are we
right.
addressing it or are we not addressing it? Or,
Yeah,
you're gonna allow us to say our piece without being judgmental, because anytime we say our piece, we're always being judged and
right.
we're always looked upon as if we're the bad guy. Black women take the brunt of everything. And
Mm,
that's what a lot of people don't understand is, we're fighting not only for ourselves, we're fighting for our children,
yeah,
we're fighting for Black men in the community, we're fighting for our brothers, we're fighting for our uncles, we're fighting for cousins, we're fighting for everyone, but
yeah,
no one fights for us. And
yeah.
that's the issue. And that's where, we have to normalize, being protected
Mm,
and people stepping up and fighting for Black women.
yeah,
And if we don't normalize that, we're going to continue to have, these charged conversations where our men are thinking like we're battling them. We're not battling you. We're telling you what we want. We're telling you what our heart desires. We're
yeah,
telling you that we love you, but you're not listening and you're not accepting, of that love and what we're going through. It's
yeah,
always about you and what you have going on.
yeah, yeah. So you have to, the sisters have to link arms to get that support.
Girl, we tried that. They shut me down.
Lord have mercy.
So and that's another thing. The black woman follow train. The white women are extremely mad that Black women are supporting each other and we're stepping out there creating safe spaces for each other, and they're upset that they're not included. But sweetheart, this
You're
is
not
for
black,
you,
so you
right?
can't be included.
It is not for you, and you need to understand that you have everything that has been afforded to you. Black women has always had to battle, and
Yeah,
although we have battled, you have been the recipient of our battle. You have been the recipient of everything that we have fought for, white
yeah,
women. And
yeah.
you have to understand that. Well, they don't have to, but they should understand it. And
Hmm.
then even so, when they go to the polls and they vote, your votes does not align with Black women and people of color votes. You always vote against your own best interest, and you always vote against women's rights. So
Hmm.
how is it in one capacity you're saying you're angry over here that we can't we you can't follow us on the Black girl follow train, but in the other capacity you vote for white supremacy because you're a direct beneficiary of it, and you vote for other things that support what these white races that you're birthing and breeding and raising are spewing out. So you
Yeah,
can't have it both ways. You
yeah.
can't say in one capacity, it's all about women, but your voting record shows something else. You just
Right,
can't have it both ways.
right, right, right. Yeah, and that hate is taught. Yeah,
Yeah, it is. It's
children don't
learned
come into the
behavior.
world hating. Yeah,
No, they don't. No, they don't. And we tell that to children every day because I'm an educator, so I see it all the time. So we have children who come from different ethnicities, different background, different races, different things, and the children will play together. The children will talk to each other. It's only until the parents get involved when the
mm,
children are noticing differences. Well, my mommy says I can't talk to you because you're Black. My mommy says I can't talk to you or play with you because you're Asian. My
mm,
mommy says I can't talk to you and play with you because you're Mexican. So it's when they put those "my mommy said" and "I can't do this because," that's when those learned behaviors are taught. Racism is a learned behavior. It's
Yeah,
taught in the home. It starts in the home. Black
that's
people, and
sad.
what white people fail to realize is black people don't teach our children to be racist. We teach
Right.
our children to be benevolent. We teach our children to be understanding and accepting of all people, not
Right.
just some people, all
Right.
people. It's only when like I said, when the parents get involved, when there are issues of those learned and taught behaviors.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, absolutely right. I was in this collaboration called Speak Up, We Deserve to Be Heard. And
Hmm.
this book came out in 2021, and it was a result of George Floyd's death. And it was about 40 women that submitted their stories, and about 22 of us were selected. And I was one of them to be selected. And my whole theme to my story was, when America starts telling the truth, we won't have these problems that we're having. And I talk a bit about the children and the race, that the hatred is taught in homes. Children do not see color, they see people. And there is only one race, that's the human race.
Hmm.
There are different ethnic backgrounds. We were all brought up differently. So the women in this book, they're all African women, telling their different stories about experiences that they've had in America with white people. I can remember as a little girl, my mom had just washed my hair. She put the barrettes in it and the bows. And then my neighbor, she was a white girl, she put dirt in my hair. And my mom gave me a whooping that day. And she's like, "Don't you ever let anybody do that to you?" So that day, she taught me, don't let anyone disrespect you. But it starts young. Parents, we have to educate, talk to our children what to accept, what behaviors to accept, what to put up with. So, but that book is a good book. Speak Up. We Deserve to Be Heard.
I'm gonna have to check it out. But yeah, you're right. Everything is taught in the home, is taught young, and those behaviors, when hateful behaviors are taught, is transposed into the classroom, into the setting, into all of these things. And people got to understand that even like with the school setting, when it came to charter schools and other schools, parochial schools, those schools were started because they did not want their children to go to school with black children.
Yeah,
And so I tell people all the time, just be mindful of, the school and the setting that you're putting your child into, because they don't care about you. They care about those dollars that your child
right,
brings to those schools.
right,
And one of the things that charter schools does is they'll accept your school until accept your child in the school until they get the money. And then when they get the money, if your child has a behavior problem, then they're going to put them out, and then your child got to go to public school anyway.
oh
So
wow,
just be mindful, that our children are accepted in a certain degree, and tolerate it in a certain degree. So, I tell them all the time, just be mindful. Acceptance and tolerance are two different things.
yeah,
And you have to know the difference in order to, survive and be prosperous and move forward in life. And I was telling people, sometimes they, people of other races, they tolerate you. They don't accept you. They
yeah,
tolerate you because of the things that you can bring to the table. They tolerate you because of your skill set. They tolerate you because they know that, you can get in spaces that they cannot get into, and
right,
that you can say things that they cannot say. And
right.
so, it's all about that game of, like tolerance and not really acceptance.
Yeah, yeah, you are absolutely right. I think about a few years ago, I have my life accident and health insurance policy, and this white lady wanted me to come aboard her team. Why did she want me to come aboard her team? So that she can get into the African American communities. That's why. So that she
Hmm.
can get her some more money. So I'm
Hmm.
like, oh no, I'm not doing that. No. Mm-mm. Yeah, yeah, they will use you. Still using us and still stealing and taking things.
Almost definitely. And, like I said, we just have to be mindful, and we have to put ourselves in positions where we're able to do the same things, and we're able to, uplift our communities through the way that they're uplifting theirs. but a lot of times we don't look at it in those capacities, in
Mhm.
which we should look at it in those capacities. But it's all about playing the game, and we have to learn how to play the game, because I know specifically in our households, we're not taught certain things. We're just not taught that.
Yeah.
And we learn certain things later on in life. And one
Yeah.
of those is the tolerance and acceptance, and understanding how the game is played. We learn it, later on. We don't learn it directly from the parents, because that's not who we are, and that's not what our upbringing is about.
Right, 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 right. Also with the finances,
Hmm.
finances, life insurance, or either the boys cooking dinner or cleaning. So there are a lot of things that need to be taught differently in the homes as well.
Yes, exactly. Because, like you said, everything is taught in the home. From being the child's first teacher to being whatever, we model certain behaviors for our children, and they tend to take up on those certain behaviors and those certain actions, because that is what they have seen
Mhm.
directly in the home. And so, and like with your mom, when she was teaching you how not to let someone disrespect you, we have to have these talks with our children,
Right.
whereas they don't have to have these talks with their children. And
Mm,
so, everything that we do is a purpose, and it's
yeah.
a reason behind it. And we have to prepare our children for a life that is not necessarily the life that our counterparts are definitely prepared for.
Right, right, right. Got to be real with them. Let them know what's
Yeah.
going on. Yeah.
Exactly. And also, even with our young ladies, I see a lot of videos where Black women are being targeted and treated a different way than their white counterparts. Their white counterparts are taught to be boisterous, boastful, and bold. Whereas Black women, we're all those things, and then some. But when we're those things,
Mm,
it backfires on us, and then it causes even more trauma, and it causes even more triggers that
yeah.
that we have to deal with, on top of all the other things that we're dealing with. So life is always teaching us a
Mm,
different role and a different capacity, that we have to start like not normalizing, and we have to start fighting those things, so that we can be in a place where we're accepted normally, and not through our trauma and not through our experiences.
yeah, yeah. So we got to make those wise choices, you know.
Yes.
Be
And
aware of your surroundings and what's
yes.
going on around you because people are watching us, just waiting for us to do something. Yeah.
Yes, and that's the God's honest truth. And we just have to, like I said, normalize, Black women being in safe spaces, and Black women getting the care and the nurturing that they deserve, and the support that they deserve, instead of always being the brunt end of being attacked, and not receiving that support. So
Right.
we as Black women, we have to step up. We have to create more safe spaces. We have to create more opportunities for Black women to feel that they are safe to speak about what has happened, and their trauma, and all of their experiences. And I
Yeah.
think your book will identify with
Yes.
a lot of people will
Man.
identify with your book, and your book,
Expose it. Yes.
yes, expose it, will help people to just start normalizing the conversation around trauma and traumatic experiences. So do you have any social media handles that you would like to put out there for the people?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You can find me on Facebook under author Ivy Caldwell. I have a podcast entitled Stepping into a New You.
Mm-hmm.
My Instagram is Footprint Series. Oh, I have a children's book out. Yes.
Yay.
Entitled Where's My Father? You can get any of my books on my website, footprintenterprisesllc.com, or Amazon.
Okay, I'm trying to type it
Do you want me
into
to
the
type
chat.
it in there?
Yeah, could you please, so that
Sure.
we can post it?
Footprints. I also have a TV show. It's about to air right now, 7 o'clock.
Oh, nice.
Podcast. Stepping into you. That's two. Let's see. IG is footprint. Footprint. series, and then Facebook is TV show. Do I have the TV show is here we go. TV show is going to be Rethink TV. Yes, the show airs on Mondays at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The name of the show is New You Transformative Ministries.
Okay, nice.
And be transformed, but you got to do this work, baby.
I'm loving it. Yes. So before we get out of here, I want to make sure that you guys check out the beautiful Miss Ivy Caldwell's book, Expose It. I think it will be an inspiration to you guys to utilize it to help you identify your trauma. And make sure you check out her podcast and her TV shows. All of her information is scrolling across the bottom. And we would definitely like to have Miss Ivy come back and give us some updates on her new projects and new things that she's working on and that she's going to be involved with.
Yes, awesome.
And I will let you have some final words to the audience.
To the audience, I say, expose your truth so you can be healed. Stop hiding, stop running. Let's face it. Why? So you can step into a new you, and God has so much in store for you. God bless you.
And with that being said, I want to thank everyone for tuning in to another great show of The All Around. And you can catch us here on Monday nights from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And hopefully we'll have my co-host, Miss Ida B, back on Monday. She was kind of caught up in Walmart. I was mad with her because I told her she should have told me so I could send my list over. So make sure you click like, share, and follow us on YouTube at The All Around and catch us on the other social media sites. And with that being said, thank you guys for tuning in, and we will see you next Monday. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
What's up? Welcome to The All Around. I'm your gracious host, Dr. Anthony. Please tune in on Mondays at 6 p.m. for your entertainment purposes. We will hit current topics, old topics, and everything else in between. Be there or be square. Deuces, my loves.